In this example, we're going to solve this separable differential equation and use the initial condition we're given to go ahead and find a particular solution. Alright, well the first thing we need to worry about when solving a separable differential equation is to get all the x values on one side and the y values on the other, with the dx and the dy respectively. So I notice this is a negative right here, so I could take this term and move it over to the right to make it positive. And then we could just switch both up if you want to get the y's on the left and the x's on the right, because it seems like we're most comfortable that way. So ultimately that would look like the square root of y times y prime equals the square root of x. Okay? Let's go ahead and transition a couple things. Let's make these square roots into rational exponents, and then let's make our y prime into a dy dx. So y to the 1/2 dy dx equals x to the 1/2. Okay, so let's go ahead and multiply both sides by the dx. So we end up with y to the 1/2 dy equals x to the 1/2 dx. And it looks like at this point we're ready to integrate both sides. So the integral of the square root of, well, y or x, because we're going to ultimately end up doing the same thing, we're going to add 1 to the power, so that will be y to the 3/2, and then divide by that new power. So 2/3, which will be identical on this side as well, with the stipulation that on the right we also have a plus c here. Okay, well we have our initial condition, y of 9 equals 1, so we know that x is 9 and y is 1. So let's go ahead and plug that information in. So x was 9 and y was 1. Now let's go ahead and solve for c. Alright, well 1 to the power of 3/2, you can ask yourself, what's the square root of 1? Well, 1, and then cube it, and that's still just 1. So 2/3 on that left side. Our right side here, 9 to the 3/2, so 9, what's the square root of that is 3, and then cube it is 27. So 2/3 times 27 plus c. Okay, so 2/3 equals, then what is 2/3 of 27? Well, 18, I believe. So if we subtract 18 from both sides, it looks like c is going to be negative 17 1/3, which you could change that to negative 52/3 if you liked. So here's our value of c. So we can put all of this together now. We can kind of transition right back up to here. And we have, I'll go ahead and rewrite that and put the plus c. So 2/3 of y to the 3/2 equals 2/3 times x to the 3/2 minus 52/3. And then to kind of work at getting this y by itself, we could multiply everything by 3/2. So this y to the 3/2 will be all by itself. And then, let's see, the 3/2 of the 2/3 will make the x also by itself. And then here, let's see, the 3's here will cancel, and then 52 divided by 2 is 26. So here would be our solution. If we're not worried about getting it in explicit form, so solving for y and getting it by itself, this looks like a great solution to me.